We're your family.
No, you're not my family. Okay, I don't want to be your family. I hate you fucking people. Divorce, bankrupt, suicide. I hate you. You fucking loser.
Behind that heartbreaking moment is the story of a family that keeps clinging to hope, even as life shoves them into one dead end after another. And that tiny spark of hope starts with a little girl named Olive. Olive is a chubby 7-year-old with a huge pair of glasses that cover almost half her face. While other kids dream of being princesses or superheroes, Olive has just one dream: to become a beauty queen. Every single day, she sits in front of the TV, replaying those dazzling crowning moments, mimicking every smile and every wave, as if that crown already belongs to her.
Losers.
Nobody expected that one day Olive would actually clear the preliminary round of the Little Miss Sunshine pageant and get invited to the finals in California that weekend. The good news makes Olive cry with joy, but it puts the whole family in a bind because they're so poor they can't even afford plane tickets. Still, seeing how excited his daughter is, Olive's dad decides to bet everything, and the whole family will drive their beat-up van across state lines to get Olive to the pageant. But for a family where every single member is an oddball, this trip was already shaping up to be anything but normal. Grandpa got kicked out of his retirement home for inappropriate behavior and a wild streak, always talking crude and blunt. Olive's dad is a motivational speaker who teaches people how to become winners, convinced there are only two kinds of people in this world: winners or losers. Her big brother Dwayne has taken a vow of silence for 9 whole months, believing that only once he becomes a pilot will he earn the right to speak to anyone. Meanwhile, the one who worries everyone the most is Uncle Frank, who fell into a deep depression after losing both his career and his love, and now always needs family around him. This family full of misfits sets off on their journey in a van so old, it feels like just a few more miles will make it fall to pieces. And sure enough, the van dies in the middle of the road not long into the trip, leaving the family no choice but to push it to a nearby garage. After checking it out, the mechanic drops news that hits like a lightning bolt. The transmission is shot, and since the van is so old, getting the parts to fix it will take at least 2 weeks. 2 weeks, which means Olive would miss the pageant entirely. Luckily, there's still a sliver of hope because the mechanic finds that only first and second gear are dead, while everything from third gear up still works fine. Which means to get the van moving, the whole family has to push it fast enough to drop it straight into third gear. So under a blazing, scorching sun, all 6 of them shout and throw every ounce of strength into shoving the heavy van forward. Once the van picks up enough speed, they each hop aboard one by one while it's still rolling. The first hurdle is finally behind them, and just as the mood in the van lightens back up, Olive's dad starts going on about the success philosophy he spent years developing. He's convinced the book he's about to publish will change his life. Right at that moment, his agent calls, but the signal is so weak, the call drops almost instantly. The second he spots a gas station up ahead, Dad rushes to a payphone to call back, waiting anxiously, hoping to hear some good news. But what waits for him on the other end is the exact opposite. The publishing deal has completely fallen apart. Nearly every dollar the family invested is gone for good. Not only does his dream of becoming a famous speaker vanish, but the whole family now faces bankruptcy, and the shock sends him and his wife into a furious fight. When everyone gets back in the van, nobody's in the mood to say a word, and the air is so heavy it's suffocating. That is, until the brother realizes something is wrong. Olive isn't in the van. While everyone was lost in their own problems, they accidentally left the little girl behind at the gas station. The van whips around immediately, but since they can't cut the engine on the road, all they can do is slow down and call for Olive to chase after it. Once everyone reaches out and pulls Olive safely aboard, they all breathe a sigh of relief. That night, they stop at a roadside motel to rest, but Dad still wants to track down his agent and give it one more shot. He believes there's still a chance to salvage everything if he can just reach the agent. So that night, he quietly slips out of the motel. But the broken van won't cooperate, so he borrows an electric moped and rides a full 36 kilometers to the hotel where the agent is staying. He anxiously dials the number, but still nobody picks up, until suddenly a phone starts ringing right there in the hotel lobby. It turns out the agent is right there, just deliberately ignoring him. And the man flatly tells him the book has no commercial value, and that he himself is just a nobody of a speaker. Not a single publisher wants to put money into that success philosophy he's always been so proud of. In just a few short minutes, the greatest belief of his life completely collapses, and a man who always worshipped the philosophy of success now tastes the biggest failure of his life. Meanwhile, back at the motel, Grandpa is using the time to coach Olive on her pageant routine. And like the pretty contestants on TV, the little girl opens up for the first time about a fear she's been hiding. Olive worries she isn't pretty enough and will end up a loser, the very kind of person her dad hates most. Grandpa just gently pats her head and tells her that being a loser isn't about losing. It's about being so afraid you never even try. As long as she has the courage to step onto that stage, Olive is already a winner. Those words of comfort finally let the little girl drift peacefully off to sleep. But the next morning, Grandpa never wakes up again. From an overdose, he passed away during the night. The terrible news leaves the entire family stunned into silence. Before they can even accept the truth, the hospital shows up with a stack of paperwork demanding Olive's dad stay to handle the final arrangements. As painful as it is, if they stay here to deal with the funeral, they'll definitely never make it to Olive's pageant. The family faces the hardest choice of the entire trip: stay to hold Grandpa's funeral or press on to make the little girl's last dream come true. Olive's mom thinks they should turn back, since there's always next year's pageant. But Olive's dad flatly refuses. He believes the thing Grandpa wanted most before he closed his eyes was to see Olive standing on that stage. Instead of staying at the hospital, he tosses all the paperwork in the trash. Then, with everyone's help, secretly loads Grandpa's body into the van. It is completely against the law. Olive's mom thinks her husband has lost his mind. But for a man who never stops talking about winning and losing, quitting right before the finish line is simply unacceptable. And so, carrying Grandpa's body in their beat-up van, the whole family keeps barreling toward California. Nobody knows what's waiting for them up ahead. They only know that from here on out, there's no turning back. But their luck quickly runs out as the van's horn gets stuck, blaring non-stop and drawing the attention of a nearby police officer. He immediately orders the family to pull over to the side so he can check it out. Watching the officer step closer and closer toward the trunk, everyone holds their breath. All it takes is for him to open that trunk, and it's all over right here. But then, the moment he opens the trunk, the officer gets completely distracted by 2 adult magazines Grandpa had stashed inside. He flips through them with such delight that he never even notices the body of a man who just passed away lying right beside him. Thanks to that unbelievable coincidence, the family narrowly escapes the inspection, clears a huge obstacle, and everyone gets back on the road. In the van, Olive plays around with an eye chart and dares her brother to try it for fun, and by accident discovers he's colorblind. This crushing news instantly shatters his dream of becoming a pilot, and cooped up in the van, he feels ready to explode. The moment the van stops by the roadside, he bolts straight out into an empty field and breaks down sobbing, and the mom runs over to comfort him, but it's no use. He points at the whole family and lashes out savagely, because in Dwayne's eyes, they're all losers, divorced, bankrupt, depressed, addicted. Not one of them can manage a normal life, and like a deflated balloon, he collapses to the ground. Little Olive walks over and wraps her arms around him on her own. and though she doesn't say a single word, her brother still feels that quiet comfort. After a long silence, Dwayne finally gets back up, and he says his dream may be over. But he doesn't want his own pain to ruin Olive's dream, so the whole family gets back on the road. By now, time is down to the last few minutes. The pageant is about to start, and the venue is right in front of them. But on this winding highway, Oleg's dad fumbles at the wheel and overshoots, missing the turn into the venue, so he has to back the van up. He plows through railings and barrier cables, causing all kinds of chaos before they finally reach the parking lot. They're 4 minutes late, and the organizers immediately refuse to let Olive compete because the rules can't be bent. All that effort over more than 1,000 kilometers seems to have gone straight down the drain. In his desperation, Olive's dad swallows his ego for the first time and drops to his knees right in front of the organizers, begging for his daughter to get one more chance. That sheer sincerity moves one of the staff members, who decides to break the rules and sign Olive up for the final competition. After so many disasters, the little girl makes it into the pageant she's been dreaming of for so long. The moment they get Olive backstage to prepare, the family finally has a chance to breathe, and Mom takes Olive off to do her makeup and change her outfit. Dad quietly slips away to arrange Grandpa's funeral, because no matter how rushed they are, he can't leave his own father lying in the trunk forever. Off in another corner, Dwayne and Uncle Frank head to the beach, and for the first time share the stories of their shattered dreams. One lost both his career and his love, the other just lost the biggest dream of his life. But it's that very conversation that makes Dwayne realize something, that people spend nearly their whole lives marching from one contest to the next. Everyone's trying to prove they're better than everyone else. And then it suddenly hits him. If you spend your whole life competing to beat other people, you'll probably never get to live for yourself. If he can't become a pilot, he'll find another way to live his life. But right now, the most important thing is helping Olive make her dream come true. Meanwhile, the Little Miss Sunshine pageant officially kicks off, with naturally innocent young girls all done up in heavy makeup. With their elaborate hair, glittering dresses, and every step like a beauty queen, Olive stands completely apart from all those other girls. She still carries the goofy look of a real, honest-to-goodness kid, and that's exactly what starts to worry her dad and Dwayne. They're afraid Olive will become a laughingstock in front of hundreds of people in the audience. Right before her turn to perform, the two of them rush backstage and try to convince Mom to take Olive home, because they don't want her to face all those mocking stares. But Mom still asks her daughter what she wants, only to watch the girl firmly take off her glasses and follow the staff toward the stage. Her little back is small, but her walk is full of resolve and strength. And the moment she steps onto the stage, Olive innocently says she wants to dedicate this number to her grandpa, the one who taught her all the moves. The entire audience bursts into laughter. But when a judge asks if her grandpa came to watch, Olive innocently replies that he's in the trunk of the van, leaving the entire room unsure how to react. And Olive's performance begins. For the first few seconds, Olive's performance is absolutely adorable, but just a few moments later, the audience starts to freeze in shock, because the dance Grandpa taught her turns out to be a grown-up style routine, wildly inappropriate, and Olive carries out every move thinking it's all perfectly normal. Meanwhile, the auditorium erupts into chaos, with parents pulling their kids out of their seats one after another. The panicked judges demand the number be stopped at once, but Olive keeps dancing away carefree with a happy smile on her face. Seeing his daughter about to be dragged off the stage, Olive's dad charges up to protect her, and for the first time in his life, he no longer cares about winning or losing. He walks straight up onto the stage, not to stop Olive, but to keep dancing right alongside her. And right after that, Mom runs up too. In the end, the whole family climbs onto the stage, throwing a wild party all their own. And they don't win the crown or bring home any prize at all. But after that journey, nobody cares about winning or losing anymore. And Dad has come to understand that life can't simply be split into winners and losers. Big brother Dwayne learns to accept his unfinished dream, and Uncle Frank slowly finds a reason to keep on living. As for Olive, the little girl is still just herself, and even though she didn't take the crown the way her dad had hoped at the start, for their family now, that doesn't matter at all anymore. The old yellow van gets pushed to life once again by the whole family together. Still the same people, still the same van. But this time, they're no longer a family living under the pressure of life's endless contests, and they head home with something more precious than any trophy. It's a family that truly knows how to accept one another, walk side by side, and always stay together, no matter how chaotic life gets.